Okay, so it's my turn. Thank you very much, Danilo, and your wonderful Abigail Adams Institute team, Maura and Matt, thank you so much. Also, Luis, thank you for supporting us, and of course, Tyler and the Humanistic Person program. Well, when I was preparing these words, I was thinking, and I was absolutely right, but what I'm going to add to what these incredible panelists are going to say. So, and at the same time, I was thinking how hard it is for me to talk about the book without talking about my experience and my learnings working with the author. So here I will share my thoughts about some of the motivations that I think are behind the book. Let's start with a brief chronology. On March 12, 2020, Manuel landed in Boston. One day later, the US began the lockdown to prevent the spread of COVID and implemented its travel ban on non-US citizens traveling from Europe. Some days later, the closing of the university became official, and faced with the impossibility of carrying out any activity at the university and at Harvard and at the RCC. As always, Manolo considered the situation providential. It was a word. Providential, and he saw the great opportunity to be able to dedicate the next 6 months to writing the book. And so he did. He got down to work, and I can tell you that it was 6 months of intense work for him, but also for many other people. As he wrote parts of the book, he gave it to read to those people he knew, and he could ask for their opinion, their advice, and above all, suggestions for improvements and points of view to make sure that anyone could be reflected in the map, whatever their way of thinking, their environment, profession, culture, age, etc. So it was, I thought, and I think, it was an act of true humility, being truly open to consider all suggestions and points of view, always with a deep appreciation, aware that they were contributions that could only improve the content. So to give you an idea, if you have had the opportunity to read the acknowledgements of the book, you will see that it may be one of the longest in the history of literature. 62 people with first and last names, in addition to former students, anonymous reviewers, his American family, residents of Elmbrook and Chestnut Hill, and his Valencian family, residents of the Altet and Alameda, nieces and nephews. I remember him saying to me, "Rita, what do you think? Do you think there is anyone else I should thank that I might have forgotten about?" So I think it was true gratitude and not just for being polite. He took his book. He took his work on the book very seriously, being aware that having those 6 months was an opportunity and a treasure that he could not fail to take advantage of. He was very aware of the transcendent dimension of the book and of the repercussion it was going to have, so much so that every time he finished some part of it, he would tell me, "Rita, make sure you keep a copy of everything in case something happens to me." The first few times I didn't pay much attention to him, but around the third time he made the comment, I remember I laughingly said to him, "Manuel, can you please stop saying these things to me?" and he never mentioned it again. But the day he finished the book and sent it to the publisher, he said to me, "You know what? I think that after this I can die." I don't know to what extent he foresaw what would happen 3 years later. But what I have no doubt about is that he considered the book to be an essential part of his mission, his personal purpose and the ECO's purpose. Since he didn't consider himself indispensable, he said that by writing it, he no longer was necessary. Why? Because he had written down what he had practiced all his life, helping others to find meaning in their lives and in their work, promoting their full human development by helping them to be happy by loving what they do. As he says in the introduction, what prompted him to write it was a request. After leading a one-day seminar on human motivations in organizations for a group of corporate executives, a woman who was senior officer in that company approached him and told Manuel that she had decided to quit her job, and nobody understood why. Because if you are a woman, she said, it is quite difficult to access such positions. She continued, it was only today, during your seminar, that I finally realized why I quit and what drove me to that decision. That woman did not give him many reasons, but the last thing she said to Manuel that day was, you will help a lot of people, which was enough to give him his motivation to write the book. So he chose to present a framework in the form of a matrix or a map, as he explained motivation theories to his students with great academic and scientific depth and great practical wisdom. Throughout the semester, he taught to his first year students about 3 Ds when making any decision. And the map allows them to know first where you are, which is first D, description. What are the coordinates to interpret the map? More transcendent or less transcendent motivations, upper or lower type of goods. Where you want to go is the second D, diagnosis, a compass to indicate the direction to move on the map. And finally, how to go. It's the third D, decision, a roadmap to propose a path to grow in motivation and thus find greater meaning in work. I have witnessed the impact of his students because of his motivations at work. According to his own words, we are all driven in life and work to seek those things we consider good, the things we love. And as a professor, he loved his students one by one, because he sought to give them not just the useful and pleasant good, but also the moral and spiritual good. As an example, after giving his last class mid-October 2022, he introduced me to his first year students, telling them that I would be their teacher until the end of the semester, because he had been diagnosed with cancer. He was smiling to them, as always, and concluded, I'm sure you will get excellent grades, and I hope to see you next year on campus. I have no words to explain the silence in the room and the reactions of his students, some of them crying softly. How can a professor have such a deep impact on his students after just 1 month and a half of starting the classes? I was shocked and very moved and touched, and truly, Manuel left behind a legacy through his capacity of loving unconditionally, always seeking the good of the other, and wanting to bring out the best in his students. If I have to choose one of the motivations that could best represent him, I would choose the transcendent motivation of giving the moral good, which is understanding and benevolence, that in Latin is benevolere, which means to look for the other's good, to believe in them more than they believe in themselves, always asking for more and helping them to give the very best they are capable of, to expect the best from them and helping them to grow a little more. Goethe once said, if you treat an individual as he is, he will remain how he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he could be, he will become what he could be. I believe that here lies the essence of what a truly human leader must practice. Because good managers are like good gardeners. They make the right decisions to create the climate in which each plant will grow and thrive. This is why making known the map of motivations and meaningful work is a way to help students who do not have clear criteria on which to base their professional future, to help young professionals who are overwhelmed, who suffer from stress at work, who experience tension between work and personal life, or who do not even find meaning in their work. And it is also especially useful for people in the midst of a mid-career crisis because it allows us to reflect on how to achieve a better work-life balance. So thank you, Manuel, for such a great legacy, a legacy that we hope to continue spreading, inspired by your eternal smile, to transform people's lives through more meaningful work, contributing to build humanistic cultures in organization and the development of society. Thank you.